Sunshine, leave her alone. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on, you. I'm on a thousand year plan anyway. Like, you know, the life of an oak forest is like we're talking about a 1,000 years cycle. You know, like an oak tree from acorn to dying of old age, you're talking of 1,000 years. What is actually happening is all over the world there are little individuals like me who have been fortunate enough to have acquired little bits of relatively untouched nature, you know, even bits of rainforest, bits of jungle, bits of coral reef islands, etc., dotted around, and are preserving them as little enclaves where nature can continue as like a little seed bank of species. The old ways got an awful lot of slagging off, which really upsets me because I think that the way it was really worked from the point of view of the land and sustainability. The way the estates worked, and I've been on a lot of different estates, both living estates and abandoned estates, and the way they functioned, they worked, each one was an independent little ecosystem, sustainable, self-sustainable systems, where if one, for some unfortunate set of circumstances, collapsed, it didn't drag down the rest. Each was self-sustaining. It had its own craftsmen, its own workmen, its own balance of harmony between agricultural land, grazing land, natural forest, natural resources, sporting, and it was all self-contained, and it worked for hundreds and hundreds of years. Open. A shallow one, a rud for shallow water. And I've got a big eel somewhere. I don't know where that is. That's the one that I used to keep. I kept getting fish taking on that, and they kept chewing it, and I couldn't hook them. You know, my collection of rods. Whew, where are they? In the corner of my workshop there's a bundle that is so big that I have to make a diversion to get past. I've got enough fishing rods there to export them to Africa, but I've also got some lovely old cane rods. It's the cane rods that I really like, and the others are ones I've just accumulated. Some of them are usable, some of them are repairable, and some of them are just spare parts, you know. I'm a bit casual with my rods. I leave them in the boat for the whole summer, and stuff like that. And yeah, you can't really do that with cane rods. Now, I've got cane rods now. I've got some lovely ones, but I daren't use them in case I break them. But I use old fiberglass rods, you know. But they're old. They're old, and a lot of modern anglers look on them as antiques, you know. But they're as good as the day they were made. I don't see any need to go for carbon or any of these modern rods that you see advertised in Angling Times. You know, the latest, you know, latest version, the new season's rods, you know, this ain't totally unnecessary. Even today, there's a huge trout that has never been caught. Now, he's not 30 pounds, but he is a very, very big trout, probably 20 or more. He's been seen a number of times by various people cruising around in sunny days. He's never, as far as I know, he's never taken a bait or a fly, but he's there. Trout are like that. They're very territorial. They'll get one spot and they'll live in that one spot for their whole life. And if it's the sort of spot that would support a really big trout, you know, plenty of food nearby, small fish nearby, and plenty of shelter for when he's not feeding, he'll stay there by that same rock or hole until he dies of old age. There are trout out there. There was one caught last year by a pike angler, 21 pound. It was also caught on a bright sunny day when nothing else was feeding. It was the only fish of the day, 21 pound, caught by a French tourist and returned. No, they're still in it. I never seen any. Well, I did one time, but to be quite honest, I didn't go near it because I wasn't really. But I was coming back in the night one time and it was misty and dark. Coming back from Scariff, kind of winter time and horrible. It wasn't rough, but it was calm, but it was dark and kind of misty. And I saw something out of the lake, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies, and I thought, oh my God. And I steer over towards it and satisfy myself that it is only a floating tree, or do I go, oh no, thank you, I'm going the opposite way? So I went the opposite way. Irish folklore, that story of the lake monster is actually quite common up in like parts of Connemara and some of the small lakes up there. And what do they call it? The Great Orme, isn't it? Yeah. And there are various accounts of even dead ones having been found. It's very, very hard to get a logical assessment, even if you talk to somebody who's supposedly seen it, and you try to get a sensible description. Well, how big was it? I just said it was huge. Well, what did it look like? It was horrible, you know, and it was black and ugly. In a previous life, I crashed in an aeroplane. I'm quite convinced I was probably during the I think probably during the war, probably a fighter pilot or something. I had a dream one time that I hate flying. I hate even the idea of it. I can't look at that and I see things now, right? I see things now that make more sense to me than I understood years ago, and I'm becoming more and more and more convinced that some form of reincarnation does actually happen. And I'm seeing examples that there isn't any other bloody explanation. And you see it again and again. And I see it with the animals. Like, over the years, I watched generations of dogs that are related, father to son. You know, I've had these dogs 30, 40 years. You know, the same breed, the same dynasty. And I see the same traits and the same memories and the same things happening that I haven't taught them. They just know it because they've always done it. You know? Net, net, net. Keep net. Ah, no. One of the golden rules is the air has to be warmer than the water, whatever time of the year. If it's the other way round, you get a chill it puts off the fish completely, whatever you're fishing for, you know. Anyway, time to go home.